Eudralex Volume 4 Good Manufacturing Practice Guidelines Chapter 2 Personnel Principle The correct manufacture of medicinal products relies upon people. For this reason, there must be sufficient qualified personnel to carry out all the tasks, which are the responsibility of the manufacturer. General: the manufacturer should have an adequate number of personnel with the necessary qualifications and practical experience. Senior management should determine and provide adequate and appropriate resources, human, financial, materials, facilities, and equipment, to implement and maintain the quality management system and continually improve its effectiveness. The manufacturer must have an organization chart in which the relationships between the head of production, quality control, and where applicable, head of quality assurance or quality unit referred to in point 2.5, and the position of the qualified person are clearly shown in the managerial hierarchy. People in responsible positions should have specific duties recorded in written job description and adequate authority to carry out their responsibilities. There should be no gaps or unexplained overlaps in the responsibility of those personnel concerned with the application of good manufacturing practice. Senior management has the ultimate responsibility to ensure an effective quality management system is in place to achieve the quality objectives, and that rules, responsibilities, and authorities are defined, communicated, and implemented throughout the organization. Senior management should establish a quality policy that describes the overall intention and direction of the company related to quality and should ensure continuing suitability and effectiveness of the quality management system and GMP compliance through participation in management review. Key personnel. Senior management should appoint key management personnel, including the head of production, the head of quality control, and if at least one of those persons is not responsible for the duties described in Article 51 of Directive 2001/83 EC1, an adequate number but at least one qualified person designated for the purpose. Normally, key posts should be occupied by full-time personnel. The head of production and quality control must be independent from each other. The duty of the quality person. The duty of the quality person are described in Article 51 of Directive 2001/83 EC and can be summarized as follows. A. For medicinal products manufactured within the European Union, a qualified person must ensure that each batch has been manufactured and checked in compliance with the laws, enforcing that member states and in accordance with the requirement of the marketing authorization. In the case of medicinal products coming from third countries, irrespective of whether the product has been manufactured in the European Union, a qualified person must ensure that each production batch has undergone in a member state a full quantitative analysis of at least all the active substances and all the other tests or checks necessary to ensure the quality of medicinal products in accordance with the requirement of the marketing authorization. The qualified person must certify in a register or equivalent document as operations are carried out and before any release that each production batch satisfies the provision of Article 51. The person responsible for these duties must meet the qualification requirement laid down in Article 493 of the same directive. They shall be permanently and continuously at the disposal of the holder of the manufacturing authorization to carry out their responsibilities. The responsibilities of a qualified person may be delegated but only to other qualified person. The head of the production. The head of the production department generally has the following responsibilities: to ensure that products are produced and stored according to the appropriate documentation in order to obtain the required quality, to approve the instruction relating to production operation and to ensure their strict implementation, to ensure that the production records are evaluated and signed by an authorized person, to ensure the qualification and maintenance of his department, premises and equipment, to ensure that the appropriate validation are done, to ensure that they require initial and continuing training of his department personnel is carried out and adopted according to need. The head of quality control. The head of quality control generally has the following responsibilities: to approve or reject, as he sees fit, starting materials, packaging materials, intermediates, bulk and finished products, to ensure that all necessary testing is carried out and the associated records evaluated. The head of quality control to approve a specification, sampling instruction, test method, and other quality control procedures, to approve and monitor any contract analysis, to ensure the qualification and the maintenance of his department, premises and equipment, to ensure that the appropriate validation are done, to ensure that the required initial and continuing training of his department personnel is carried out and adopted according to need. The heads of production quality control and where relevant, head of quality assurance or head of quality unit generally have some shared or jointly exercised responsibilities relating to quality, including in particular the design, effective implementation, monitoring and maintenance of the quality management system. These may include, subject to any national regulations, the authorization of written procedures and other documents, including amendments, the monitoring and control of the manufacturing environment, plant hygiene, process validation, training, the approval and monitoring of suppliers of materials, the approval and monitoring of contract manufacturers and providers of other GMP-related outsourced activities, the designation and monitoring of storage conditions for materials and products, the retention of records, the monitoring of compliance with the requirement of good manufacturing practice, the inspection, investigation, and taking of samples in order to monitor factors which may affect product quality, participation in management review of process performance, product quality, and of the quality management system, and advocating continual improvement, ensuring that a timely and effective communication and escalation process exists to raise quality issue to the appropriate level of the management. Training. The manufacturer should provide training for all the personnel whose duties take them into production and storage areas or into control laboratories, including the technical, maintenance, and cleaning personnel, and for other personnel whose activities could affect the quality of the product. Besides the basic training on the theory and practice of the quality management system and good manufacturing practice, newly recruited personnel should receive training appropriate to the duties assigned to them. Continuing training should also be given, and its practical effectiveness should be periodically assessed. Training programs should be available, approved by either the head of production or the head of quality control as appropriate. Training records should be kept. Personnel working in areas where communication is a hazard, e.g. clean areas or areas where highly active toxic infection or sanitizing materials are handled should be given a specific training. Visitors or untrained personnel should preferably not be taken into the production and quality control areas. If this is unavoidable, they should be given information in advance, particularly about personal hygiene and the prescribed protective clothing. They should be closely supervised. The pharmaceutical quality system and all the measures capable of improving its understanding and implementation should be fully discussed during the training sessions. Personal hygiene. Detailed hygiene programs should be established and adapted to the different needs within the factory. They should include procedure relating to the health hygiene practices and clothing of personnel. These procedures should be understood and followed in a very strict way by every person whose duties take him into the production and control areas. Hygiene programs should be promoted by management and widely discussed during training sessions. All personnel should receive medical examination upon recruitment. It must be the manufacturer's responsibility that they are instruction ensuring that health conditions that can be of the relevance to the quality of product come to the manufacturer's knowledge. After the first medical examination should be carried out when necessary for the work and personal health. Steps should be taken to ensure as far as is practicable that no person affected by an infectious disease or having open lesion on the exposed surface of the body is engaged in the manufacture of medicinal products. Every person entering the manufacturing areas should wear protective garments appropriate to the operation to be carried out. Eating, drinking, chewing, or smoking, or the storage of food, drink, smoking materials, or personal medication in the production and storage area should be prohibited. In general, any unhygienic practice within the manufacturing areas or in any other area where the product might be adversely affected should be forbidden. Direct contact should be avoided between the operator's hands and the exposed product, as well as with any part of the equipment that comes into contact with the products. Personnel should be instructed to use the hand washing facilities. Any specific requirements for the manufacture of special groups of products, for example, sterile preparation, are covered in annexes. Consultants should have adequate education, training, and experience, or any combination thereof, to advise on the subject for which they are retained. Records should be maintained stating the name, address, qualification, and type of service provided by this consultant. Thanks for your attention.